It began with 3 pillars, the foundation for UW Esports, pushing ourselves to greater heights.
Community.
Career. Competition.
Oh yeah. Reminds me of Toronto Defiant Yakpung. Reminiscent of that, of just juggling everyone into the corner there.
Maybe that'll be the game changer here for UW.
Maybe. Oh my goodness! What an angle by Wizard!
Wow. What a shot.
Hello and welcome to the stream, everybody. Hope you're having a great Saturday. In our game of the week today, we are happy to feature our UW Esports League of Legends team competing in the CLoL Winter Tournament against UC Berkeley. Through esports, we're able to connect with one another, forming and developing digital communities. We hope you enjoy being a part of our community, and we invite you to get more involved. Follow us here or on UW Esports Discord server, as well as our social channels at UofW Esports. Now to introduce ourselves, I'm Sam, and I am currently a junior, and I will be one of your casters tonight.
And I'm Mike. I am also currently a junior, and I will be your other caster for this evening.
All right, so going into the league stream, not sure. What are you kind of expecting? I know right now the meta is a bit wacky, if you want to say. There's a lot of interesting picks out there.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing?
So biggest thing I think UW is really going to need to make sure they tackle, especially early on into this game, is going to be top lane prio. Top lane, especially this season, has been absolutely pivotal in the success of the games early, just because of how strong objectives have been. Having grubs be so powerful, especially once you get full stacks, it is definitely something that I think if UW plays around successfully and is really able to create some of those bigger wins top lane, mid lane, and in the jungle, I really think it could be something that we see a lot of success pull from. And then obviously just maintaining key tempo. That is a huge part about League, again, with these objectives now spawning earlier and at better times, especially that first objective between Dragon and Grubs. If teams don't manage that correctly or don't set themselves up on the map in general, it can be a really, really easy way to sort of fall behind. And so I think, again, as long as UW is mindful of that, this should be a pretty easy play.
Yeah, absolutely. I know personally, I'm a mid player, so I obviously, of course, absolutely pay attention to what's going on in the jungle at all times. But you have a lot more knowledge of kind of the jungle, and with the big changes, do you see like a massive shift? Or I know like the lanes are different, they're much bigger, and as someone with a little more knowledge, what do you think about that as well?
Yeah, I think the jungle's in a really interesting spot right now. I personally really like it. I think it allows for some newer play styles that do really well. I think sort of, especially different levels, gone are the times of assassin junglers, and I think right now teams really have to decide on what kind of position they want their junglers to fill. I know personally the groups that I've been running with, we tend to run a much more utility-based jungler. So somebody like Zach, or a team fight jungler, somebody like Brand. And while those are both really strong options and they do really well, especially leading into the late game, there is definitely still a place for that solid brawler jungle, right? And so I personally would love to see some picks like a Nidalee pick. I think she's done really well, especially in the lower levels, just because of the recent changes they've made. She's been a lot more successful. But even, I mean, the Brand as well, or not Brand and Zach as well, they both really do. I mean, I know I mentioned them earlier with the team fights, but they are two junglers that when played well and when really, focused with the synergy of the team, they can set up a lot of really good windows. But I mean, yeah, it is a crazy space. It's a crazy thing to be in. It's a crazy way to just see the game unfold. And I personally love it. I think it's been a really positive change. So we'll see. Hopefully we get some kind of unique picks, especially in the jungle. I think right now in this patch, this is definitely a time and a place for that. I know Maokai's been getting picked a lot, and so
Oh yeah, for
maybe we
sure.
see a Maokai flex. That would be interesting. But I mean, even some solo plays like Evelyn, she's pretty dominant right now, and that having that AP position in the jungle can be really, really useful. So yeah, we'll see. We will definitely see.
Yeah, I know you talked about kind of champions flexing positions, and I know Karma is another one
Yup.
who's seeing so much play right now. And the one time I played recently against a Karma, it was just so annoying. I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. I know she can be really strong in the mid lane as well as support, so I'm
For
sure
sure.
that one will probably be either picked or banned or somewhere along those lines because I think it's super strong. Same with
Yeah.
Twisted Fate. I know it's got
Mm-hmm.
lots of play recently, and
Yup.
Smolder too. Being a new champion, there's always that kind of period of time where everyone just doesn't really know how to play them, and then once they do pick up traction, they just seem broken. And so
100%.
I
Yeah,
think
that
that'll be
passive
really
is
fun.
dangerous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
But
yeah, it's the whole game is in a cool spot right now. There's a poke is really good, team fights are faster in my opinion. I think, obviously any of this can be debated, but I really do believe that, team fights are it's not as easy to just kind of run in and blow everyone up, right? And so you
mhm.
have to be a little bit more strategic, and I think we see that now in who's really strong. I think another really big pick, you mentioned Smolder, and I think Vayne is in a really good position as well, right?
Yeah.
We see her really succeeding, especially early, paired with a good support. And so Vayne is another one of those where, keep her on your radar. She could be somebody that really dominates in those higher levels, in the higher play. So yeah, this could really go anywhere, but I'm really curious to see sort of all the different matchups that UW is able to cook up and see where they take it. I mean, I
Yeah.
personally favor the tank top lane. I like that
Mhm.
island. I think that's good. I favor a good, assassin or team fight jungle. And I think in mid lane, it's sort of have your fun with it, right? You're able to, really sort of command the team a little bit. And that's really cool to see. So yeah, I think we're in for some good collegiate league. And that's definitely the best part.
Yeah, you mentioned Vayne, and Vayne is another one of those champs that can just be played anywhere, which can
Yep.
be so good if you need somewhere to fill a spot. And if you just want the Vayne pick, you have 3 places you can play it. So
Mm-hmm.
it can be a really good just pickup to have in general.
For
I
sure.
know you tend to play more top lane, so that's kind of your area of expertise. You mentioned kind of a brawl top laner. Do you see anyone else who you think is really impactful right now in the top lane?
Um, yeah, I think there's a few. I mean, obviously, you mentioned the Twisted Fate, and the best part about Twisted Fate top is he is able to really just bully whoever he's going against, and so it can make for some really interesting dynamics. So I think he's a really good pick where, maybe not as much of a brawler, but definitely a lane bully in that one-on-one situation, and he's got really good ability to sort of control a gank. He doesn't have great escape, but
Mm.
if he plays it smart and if he, if the top lane is watched over, has good vision, all of these things, I mean, pretty much you could say that for anyone, but in the case of TF especially, he has the chance of being a really powerful pick. Otherwise, the picks that I've seen that I think have been really fun to watch are Gwen is a great AP top laner. She wins in ganks, she wins in the one-on-one, and so she's a ton of fun to watch. Urgot is, I think, one of those that a lot of people kind of shine away from because in all, in all actuality, he's not that complicated. And I think a lot of people tend to think that the more complicated the champion, the better they're going to be. And that isn't always the case. Sometimes the simpler champions are actually just as good. And so he's a great pick. And then in terms of the third and final one, I mean, Jax has been dominant. He's one of those where if you really want that early aggression, You set him up, he wins against a majority of other top laners in the one-on-one, so he's a great pick. And then just to sort of throw you a little bone towards the end, the Jace pick. I love a Jace pick, and I think he is one of those where, if played well, if executed correctly, can become such a under-the-radar monster dominating game. I mean, he really has that ability to make his impact known in the team fight. He's great in the one-on-one. And I mean, all it takes is items, you know? And so I think that's why a lot of people think that he isn't that valuable of a pick early. But I don't know. I've seen it work, and I'm not gonna, who's to say it won't work in this case? So,
Right.
Love to see it in general.
Yeah. So as of now, we're kind of just waiting for a couple more people to load into the lobby, but we're almost there. As of now, we are going to go to a short break so that way we can have the rest of our players file in. And so we will see you shortly.
We must all make our choices. I could do better. What did I do?
So this could go a few ways.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick. Oh, Fiora, really?
So this is, to me, this reads, this is Senna Tom in the bot lane, and this is a Fiora top lane, or an Aatrox top lane in
Ooh.
this case. This is gonna be really interesting.
Yeah. I have seen Aatrox also performing well. Whoa, that was not what I thought it
Closeness.
was gonna be though.
All right. Yeah, so I mean, at this point, I'm just not even gonna bother trying to guess what people are going. I'm just gonna wait till this finally gets picked. But
Wow.
this is so far a pretty. We talked about having a unique setup this game, and this is definitely that. We've got some pretty interesting picks so far.
Yes, I would definitely agree.
Ezreal,
Looks
Maokai in the bot lane.
Yes. Kind of looks like if I had to guess. Oh, they took away that Fiora.
All right. I'm going to be honest. I don't love that they did that because to me, that could have very much just been a bait. But
Oh,
I
you
mean,
never know.
funny to see. Yeah, true. We'll be optimistic and say that that wasn't a bait and that actually was just some strategic picks. But
Mhm.
if not, that's a very unfortunate ban to just lose because of that. But we'll see. I like the
Yeah.
TF ban though. That's a really solid ban, especially going against a Maokai and a Talia who want to get up in your face, want to get close to you, want to kite you. That's a good pickup. Or that's a
Yeah.
good ban, I should say.
I definitely agree. So we were talking about very strong. Oh, and there's the
There's the
Jax you were
Jax,
talking
yep.
about. See what the final ban is. I assume either a top or another mid ban. They might try and focus ban the mid as they have
Yeah.
Azir also
Yeah,
banned so far.
having the solo mid ban, I mean, to me, really just speaks volumes on the confidence going into that. So
Oh,
a top
really?
lane ban, right? Yeah. So I mean, even in just this ban phase, it looks like top lane might be a pretty big point of interest this game. right? Lots of power taken away from both sides. And the Jace pick. I love this pick if they go through with it. I really hope they do. This could be something that I think really aids in the late game team fights. I love it. This is a poke team right now, right? You look at this team comp. This is a poke team comp where, I'm looking at this other one, Senna, Tom Kench, Fiddlesticks, right? They are going to have to close the gap a little bit on some of these fights. And so the Ari's a good pickup to do that. I really like that set.
Especially just got some buffs.
Yep. Ari buffs are definitely going to come into play this game.
Yeah, so it looks like they're just last picking their top side, assuming.
I will see how this goes.
Yeah. Another.
All right, Riven
Oh,
top. All
okay.
right. I like team 1. Let's see team 2.
Picking for their mid lane.
Yeah, mid lane or jungle here. Assuming that Talia is a jungle pick, this would be mid.
Right. Decisions. Oh, interesting.
Poppy. To me, that's Poppy jungle, unless it's Jace mid.
Oh, that might be it.
Poppy support. Okay.
Huh.
Nope,
No.
Poppy top. All right. I'm just not even going to speak at this point. I'm just going to let it pan out.
I know. Well, we kind of talked about this too, how a lot of champs are able to play in multiple spots, and
Yeah,
that just tells
everyone can
you,
go everywhere.
yeah, having that hard of a time deciphering which might be where, that tells you that they can be played so many different spots right now.
So, I mean, even just looking at this setup right now, this to me is a pretty even split overall, right? You've got a lot of responses on both sides for their matchup, right? When I look at Jace against Ari mid, the main thing I'm thinking of is Jace is really going to have to play the distance game well to kite out Ari because, I mean, the minute he switches to that hammer form, that charm has his name on it. And if he doesn't play around it, it is going to be a really hard trade for Jace on the back end. So that's going to be the first big one, right? We're looking at Riven versus Poppy. Poppy is one of Riven's big counters because of how many dashes she has worked into her kit. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out too. And then Fiddlesticks and Talia, right? Talia is one of those characters who has to play around her Q passive. If she doesn't, it's going to make for some really tough trades. Whereas Fiddlesticks wants to kind of show up out of nowhere and wreak havoc with that R, right? And aside from her R, Talia doesn't have a great escape. So I think all in all, these are some really interesting matchups. And then obviously just this bot lane, right? Senna, ADC, or, if they might go Tom farming mainly, we'll see how they play this. But again, that's a scaling comp on the left and a really heavy poke comp on the right. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. Getting into our first game. I will say, as like I said, a mid lane player, seeing the Ari is cool. I think she's fun to watch, so I'll be interested to see how that goes against Jace. Jace is one of those characters that I just usually try and just do my best against. I don't know a ton about how Jace plays, so I can't speak on that as much, but this will be fun. I'll be really interested to see how these big ults come into play, like you kind of mentioned. The Maokai ult could be really big, and then the Fiddlesticks ult will be big, so it'll be good.
Yeah, this is I mean, really just going with what you were saying. I mean, this is going to be a big ult fight, big ult game. I'm really curious to see how they choose to play this out, right? You look at this top lane matchup and, we talked about earlier in the stream, sort of the strengths of top lane, right? And how powerful the top lane, especially, objective impact is, right? That's going to be a really big part in, sort of deciding the tide of this game. And so when I look at Riven, who sort of wants to snowball early and really create a super hard kind of diff in the top lane, and you look at Poppy, who sort of shuts her down, it'll be interesting to see who really owns that top lane matchup. And then, Talia versus Fiddlesticks, right? Neither of them are super strong early game picks. They both kind of scale with items and really scale with the flow of the game. And so it'll be interesting to see how, those upper two really do, what I mean, with each other. So yeah, maybe an interesting game.
For sure. And it looks like any second now we will be transported into the rift ourselves. We will see what is happening. Gotta always appreciate the skins. Gotta give them the credit where
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. "30 seconds until minions spawn." Minions have spawned.
this early on. So, you know, good that she was able to have a little bit of help.
Yeah. And it looks like now bot lane is going to reset, which also might help them out, as it looks like the objectives are going to spawn here shortly.
Yep. Little fight for top
Ooh.
scuttle.
Yes, we see
Riven
some
comes
gnomes coming
down.
in.
Good movement.
Oh,
Good Jace
flash
plays.
comes
Good
out.
flash by
Oh,
Ari.
first blood.
And he takes it. That was a huge play by Jace. Being able to only take one tower shot, using that ignite well, that was perfect execution for an early Jace play. Ari's gonna burn the TP as well, so no spells for Ari, which to me, I mean, this has got a second Jace kill on the horizon. If they play this well, if they, you know, really make sure they get either a good, you know, good roam from Maokai, good roam from Talia, this could be a really good start to a huge diff in the mid lane, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So the Ari didn't take ignite.
Yeah.
And I wonder, that could have changed the fight there, because Jace was pretty low.
Yep, definitely would have resulted in a trade, which I think, you know, again, with this situation right now, right, we're looking at Jace just got a buff on his early game damage. So I think that's really why we actually saw a more positive trade going for Jace, right? If this wasn't the patch we're on, I'm not sure he wins that trade. But, you know, that could definitely be something that, you know, maybe Cal takes into consideration going into game 2. But yeah, really good pickup for UW right there, taking that first blood. They do end up trading away the grubs, and so I do think that's going to be sort of a, you know, tough thing to lose in terms of overall game situation, overall macros. But, you know, it is what it is. A kill is a kill, especially a first blood. Now we're trying to set up another kill in the bot lane.
Oh, yes.
And it's too
Gank
easy.
comes in. That should set them up for drag, assuming they go for it here.
Yep, this is a big Drake setup. Might even look for a mid lane gank first, trying to play off these birds. I like it. The Raptors pick up.
They know that Talia is there, so they ping
Low
that.
mana on the Ari. I mean, this is a good situation for the mid lane jungle to be in, right? I mean, low mana on the Ari, more control from the Talia on the side of UW, right? Maokai is pushed up. Really, this should be a pretty secure drag. They just have to make sure they don't take too long and allow Hal to sort of come back where they need to.
Right. Don't want to.
We see a little skirmish going on in the top lane. I mean, really, I don't need to see any sort of crazy fights coming from Poppy. I think she's one of those where, you know, play to her strengths, and right now her strength is being that perfect sort of answer to Riven. And so, perfect, you know? Don't lose anything in the top lane, gain all your value in the bot lane, reset.
Yeah.
You know, perfect play for the first 7 minutes. I love to see it.
Yeah, that was, like you said, that was really well executed. They were able to get a successful gank off in the bot lane, set up right for Dragon, take advantage of that, and that was really well played. Still see our brawl coming out here with Poppy and Riven.
Yeah, I like
Flash
this.
comes out.
There you go. Okay,
And
nice.
gets the kill.
Big pickup. So, Riven ulted there. That was weird. You know, that's kind of a strange thing to see. I don't know if that was the all or if maybe that was just the W, but you know, I'm not sure based on the animations. But if that wasn't all, kind of strange to see.
To be honest, I did not. I'm not sure if I saw it. I was not. I wasn't looking at that, but
you're good.
Yeah,
Even with, you know, big dub for UW. So, you know, this is kind of we're getting into that phase where, you know, maybe mental starts to shift a little bit. How does Cal respond to this, right? Do we sort of try to set up some plays on maybe some weaker side positions, right? I mean, right now I'm looking at these trades and bot lane is succeeding. But, I mean, even now, right? Mid lane's getting chased. Top jungle is getting kind of taken over. So, Cal is really going to have to find some way to respond because they're not going to be able to sustain this sort of give a little, take nothing situation they got going on right now. We see alts coming up too, so, you know, really could be a big place for some success.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, as of right now, the gold lead isn't too bad. Oh, we also see an engage here where they're going in. Oh, big ult coming out. We see Tom has to flash away and gets killed.
Yep.
And it looks like
Tom loss is tough.
Yeah, I think Senna makes in big ult coming out top lane too. You see Poppy trying to run away. Not
They're really
much
gonna need
places
to.
they can go
Nice.
and
All right.
pick up the kill.
So we get a trade top and a trade bot, you know, or I guess a trade for top and bot. Not
Yes.
too bad, really. I mean, again, you're thinking about overall success and what is coming out of this game, right? A top death right there, aside from giving the grubs, I don't mind bot lane taking a kill right there. And I really don't mind Poppy being the one to give one topside, right? So we'll see how this goes. UW obviously recognizing that they do lose that grubs. It's going to be something that they will feel late game. But, I mean, for
What's
right
going on
now,
here?
I'm kind of coasting.
With
A little bit of
them taking
steals,
the
you know?
grubs. Yeah, look at
Yep, yep.
that.
Talia aware of the situation. She knows that jungle is on that top side, so she knows that she's able to kind of come in, sneak a little bit, right? Take the Krugs, take the red,
Oh, an
set
ult
themselves
comes
up,
out.
maybe come bot lane, you know, and really double down. Yep, there we go. We see the ult.
Yep.
Big bot lane setup. Looking like we might lose Tom. Senna should come out of it.
Oh, but
there-
Ari is
good response
roamed.
from Ari. Ari lands the charm.
And Riven is bot now.
Hits Talia. Everybody's coming bot side. Everybody's coming bot side, right? This is the place to be.
Yes. Oh, there's the ult. There it came out.
So
Looks
we'll see how
like
Jace cleans this up. Nice, there's one.
Jace able to get one.
Trying to save Natalia. We have Ari, Riven, and Senna all pushing in, right? This is kind of a weird situation to be in because they're going to run out of room here pretty soon of where they can go.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I like this Jace holding back. This is a good position to be in.
Oh,
Collapsing.
wow, that
great
damage.
Pickup, great pickup.
Let's see if they're
And now they
able
can kind of just
to.
get out. Jace wants more, though. Jace is hungry
Yeah,
for it.
Jace is going in.
Turns back around, picks up a Riven kill, maybe. All right, looks like we're just
Looks
going to
like-
get out.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, that's pretty solid, right? You're not losing too much value. Yes, you give a few kills. Yes, you give, you know, a little bit of chaos in the bot lane, but overall,
Uh-oh.
not a ton lost.
Oh,
And a cheeky little
unfortunate
alt pickup
ult
from the
there.
jungle.
Yes. Unfortunate for, I believe that was Talia, but that was just the right place to be for Fiddlesticks there.
Yep. So we're looking down here at scoreboard, right? And we've got Jace is up 2-0. That's really solid for the side of UW. I mean, really, again, you look at the overall numbers, and UW isn't hurting, in my opinion, in this case, right? Bot lane, I would say, is losing on the side of Cal. Mid lane is having a really hard time being relevant right now. This Ari needs to start snowballing and needs to start picking up before we hit that 15-minute mark, right? And Riven, she's doing Riven things. I mean, it's pretty easy when you have one of the cheapest items in the game to start out your spikes, but again, right, outside of that top lane and outside of that one kill we saw in the jungle, UW is controlling this game, and they're doing a really good job sort of changing the tides of the fight. I think only thing I'd like to see is a little bit more strength coming out of this ADC role on the side of UW, but and when you look at it, right, he has to get that power spike, and as soon as he gets it, right, I think we're looking at an Essence Reaver potentially first, but as soon as we get it, it's going to be a good spot. So yeah, really curious to see. Maokai is in a position right now where he's able to just sort of really own and set up boundary lines in the jungle wherever he's at. And so he is a huge pickup for the side of UW to really have choose the fights.
Yeah, we see a bit of a fight potentially breaking out here for this dragon.
Yep, Ezreal's going to get pushed out. Not too bad. Looks like UW's going to take the drag.
Yes.
All right.
Ezreal
is this
was
a
kind
fight?
of a distraction there. Brought him away
Yeah,
from the
no
dragon.
kidding. Yeah, not worth a lot of gold, but still, you know, in the eyes of Cal, he was a worthy person to try and take out. Don't know if I agree, but hey, I mean, when you're desperate, you're desperate. So we'll see what happens. This does look like, you know, the overall control of towers is in the side of the Bears, just at least in the bot lane. Top lane, obviously, UW is pulling through a little bit. Same with the mid lane, but
Yeah.
you know, the big thing you gotta remember too is this Cal bot lane scales, right? They want to have those stacks on Senna, so gotta be careful with these responses. Now we see a gank coming in on the side of the Bears. Big fiddle
big
ult
gank.
sets up a lot of success there.
Oh, and Jace is here
Jace is gonna
again.
come down, owns the lane. All right,
These
Fiddlesticks gives a lot for that
ults.
kill, but I think it's proving to be pretty useful.
Yeah, these ults have been very influential for these fights. And looks like they're just gonna have to give the turret.
This could be a kill on the Jace. This Ahri lands a charm.
Oh,
Free
yep,
charm.
big charm. And a stun.
Nice.
And
All
we get
right.
the shutdown.
And just like that, we're even, right? So how the
Yeah,
mighty
quick
fall, you know?
switch.
You're looking at Jace sort of lose
Oh,
that
man.
nice little snipe by the Ezreal.
Yeah. We see Talia still kind of invading on the jungle, but there's a lot going on bot lane. Lots of pings coming out. They know that they're there.
Holly is pinging for that top lane gank. So
Yep.
bot lane
Ooh.
is, is Cal overstaying their welcome? I think it might be a little bit so, right? That Maokai
Yeah.
pickup is valuable, so.
They're able to get that extra kill. And it looks like, I think Maokai might have seen Senna, but didn't stop the back. We
Might be having a little bit of a weird green situation right now looking at the top corner, but there we go. Sweet. So this is the first time we see UW prioritizing the the top lane objective. I like the Herald pickup. Herald's been sort of a weird change, but we'll see how they use it.
An aggressive engage there, but it's able to get out. TP coming in.
I'm liking these fights. These are really good fight snares for everyone.
Yes, lots of ults
nice
coming
big
out.
pickup from Talia. Are we going to see potentially another kill on the side of UW, taking out one of the top or mid laners?
Ult comes out as well. Ooh, a charm, big charm.
Fiddle is in the position to have a pretty good ult right here if he is able to get over that wall.
I think
UW is aware.
Oh,
dang.
right
Senna is hitting that power spike. She's getting those stacks. And we are seeing sort of the dominance of it in these team fights. She's able to sit back farther, do more damage. Man, it's going to be a tough response from UW.
Yeah, that was a very interesting fight there. Kind of seemed like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of getting to that point in the game where, objectives are sort of a second thought, right? Anytime there's a fight opportunity, everybody's on it, right? You see that from both sides, right? You see the Fiddle moving in, trying to get some good ults. You see the Talia kind of coming from out of nowhere. I mean, even now, the Maokai is really pushing up to try to get that trade on Ahri.
Yeah.
Everybody's, seeing red.
Yes. Trying to keep up their gold, get their items. Slowly it's gonna start turning into those team fight phases. And especially with, as I just pinged there, the drag coming up, gonna want to be prepared for that. See, kind of just some resetting, it looks like. Nothing crazy going on. They know Ahri is topside. And another Fiddlesticks ult comes out. Oh my goodness. That ult has been so monumental for their team.
Absolutely. And they're playing around it really well. Yeah, I mean, and you think about, again, you look at the scoreboard and who's the only one that Cal is really losing in these fights? And it's the Tahm Kench. And guess what? You don't need to have him be the one finding success, right? As long as they're able to frontline peel for that Senna, frontline peel for that Ahri, allow both of those characters to really set up big plays, and then you let Fiddlesticks come on the backside and really just set up some great plays. I mean, it's all clicking, right? And I think now maybe UW's getting a little nervous with it. Here we go again, right? Tahm Kench gets in.
Ult comes out.
Ult from the Maokai, ult from the Senna. Senna's got shields up. Ahri TP's in. Ahri is in the backline taking out the backside, right?
Yep. See Maokai fall there.
Goodness.
And looks like they're going to be in a spot to possibly take this dragon. But
Ahri wants more. She's in a position where she can take more, right? Riven's there. Riven's full. Ahri's there. Ahri's got enough health, has enough kit to really find some success there. Tahm is on his way back.
Yeah,
looking like the first drag for Cal. Good pickup here. We see Shelly getting used for that mid lane, trying to maybe set up a little bit of a difference there. Senna comes back up, and I mean, look how dominant she is.
That damage.
I mean, yeah, when you have a champion who's in the position to just 4-shot or 5-shot an enemy champion, that's going to be a problem, especially when they're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger, right? You see itemization coming into play. Fiddlesticks is pushing through that jungle, trying to get vision. UW is trying to collapse on it a little bit, but you see Tom Kench still hovering there. I mean, this is a crazy little situation to be in, right? Lots of fights getting set up, lots of really good engage on the side of UW and Cal.
Yeah. See a little
And I
bit
mean,
of
as long as that Fiddlesticks is there and doesn't get caught out too much by this Talia, I mean, this is going to be tough to see. Both mid turrets, well, UW mid turret down, Cal mid turret pretty much down. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that fall relatively soon. Jace wants to try to get a pickup on this Ahri or just on somebody. You can tell he's kind of hungry
but
for
there's
it.
the
And
ult
it's
again.
the bait is
Oh
too
my
much.
goodness. Wow, that is just crazy how big this ult has been this game.
Yeah, you know, not a lot of response, I think, from the side of UW. I mean, if I were them, you know, they need to really start prioritizing some of this vision push up, especially around this mid lane. We see so many fights coming up. And I mean, does Maokai really want to do that? I mean, we lost a flash for that. Was that a good play? I'm not sure, right? And now we see Fiddlesticks sort of just continuing his bully process throughout all the different lanes, making his position known, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, you're pointing out the right stuff, right? That Fiddlesticks ult is really changing the tide of this game. And UW is going to need to make sure they're playing around it a little better, right? They can't keep affording to lose even just those little one-off kills, right? As small as they might seem, they are monumental in winning these team fights, especially when, for the side of Cal, right, we see a few pivotal people coming up, right, really finding success and getting that itemization. So we'll see what happens with it. We'll see how UW responds, but, you know, we're at a little bit of a lull period right now, right? Objectives are setting up again, right? Lanes are swapping, towers are being taken. We'll see kind of what happens. You know, we look on the map, Fiddlesticks is top side. We have a ping from red side, pinging the Ahri, so maybe UW looks to set something up here. They see the Riven on the bot side. They know that the Fiddlesticks now is on the Baron. Fiddlesticks sitting by that Baron pit. Jace is going to back, so setup is coming up. I wouldn't be surprised if we see yet another pretty big, you know, pivotal fight that really changes the tide of this game. But
Yeah.
I like to see the aggression coming out of the side of Cal, right? They're pushing up. They know what they want to take.
Oh,
I don't
like
think they
what's going
see
on
the
here.
Poppy.
I feel like they're definitely waiting for this ult.
Yeah, so
Oh, it doesn't present
it's
itself.
interesting. We might see a Baron pickup. We might see, you know, maybe a little bit of a baited fight into the Baron pickup. They know Talia is top side. She just cleared a ward. They're pushing out that Ezreal. Riven is coming up from the bot side. There we go. There's a Fiddlesticks ult again on the Talia. And we see Talia fall. To me, that's prepare for Baron. Yep. And we see the pings coming through. Jeez, man.
I mean,
the vision, you know, it's so tough when you're losing vision everywhere. Every single time we see this sort of three-man group coming out of Cal to push through vision, and you just see how powerful it is, right?
Yeah.
UW really doesn't have a response aside from the Jace poke, but, you know, Ezreal ult out, Maokai ult out, trying to set something up.
See if they could take advantage.
But it might just be a little too late. Can we see a steal
Maybe
here?
Maybe they can steal it?
No steal.
Nope. Yeah.
And now it's sort of just run for your life.
Oh, he goes back in.
Jeez.
Just as you were saying with the
kill
vision.
For Cal.
I definitely agree. There's just a lack of vision going on, and that's just playing right into Fiddlesticks' hands. If they aren't being careful, you know, they're just running into these ults, and it's like free candy for them.
Yeah, so no kidding. Well, I mean,
use it.
And you look at the map, right, and they're almost flopped, right? You see UW has such vision control on the bot side, and I mean, look, even then, even with the vision control, what does it mean if you're just gonna die regardless?
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate situation there. But the top turret, Maokai's coming in to ward off the Riven a little bit. But yeah, if we can look on the mini-map, there's definitely some deeper wards from the Cal side. And
big ult coming in from the mid lane, trying to kill this Jace. Jace is out of the equation. Now we move to Talia. All right, and the Poppy is luckily there to sort of take the pressure off her back. Riven's going up. Riven wants this tower. Maokai's really not in a position to keep her off of it, so I wouldn't be surprised if we just, you know, see that tower fall from these Baron cannon minions.
Yeah, they are just able to
Wrong place, wrong time with these Senna poke, Senna damage.
Yeah, they're able to push out these side lanes really well. There's not a whole lot of answers for each of the splits, so it's forcing UW to kind of play back and gives the opportunity for Cal to set up how they need to. And look at those shutdowns. Lots of bounties on the side of Cal.
Yeah, definitely
So-
some. Yep, we see UW trying to make a play on this Riven bounty, maybe claim that, get it in the hands of the jungle.
Yep. Oh, we
But-
see Jace going in as well.
All right.
Oh my goodness. Able
Tom
to pick
Kench
up
gets
one.
the trade. Riven gets a
and-
trade on Talia.
Oh man, Riven is just not dying. He's going in.
We might see Ari pick. There
Wow.
you go. Jeez, man.
Oh,
I mean,
I think that was a triple kill.
yep. That is not what you want to see on the side of UW. That's definitely going to be a tough thing to come back from. And we just see this wave sort of amassing in the top side.
man.
Base is going to get cracked pretty fully up there.
Yeah,
Ezreal is really
Ezreal-
trying to come in and maybe stop as much hemorrhage as he can. But, I mean, Fiddlesticks now is set up in the mid lane. And
They're just
you know,
able to keep cracking at it.
we talk about that, stacking grubs, right? And the biggest thing, the biggest strength that stacking grubs gets you is it allows you to not even need a minion wave, right? And we see that right there. When you can spawn up these little grubs and they just take the role of that, you don't always need a minion wave in every lane to still get the value out of it. And honestly, if I have any takeaway from this game and I'm UW, I'm going to prioritize that top lane a little bit. This is definitely something that I think just they ran into some rough trades where, Jace was riding high early and now look where he's at, right? 2 and 5 is not a good look. And regardless of Ari, having no kills right now, she's made her presence known in these team fights, right? Those 9 assists obviously mean something coming off of her charms, off of her Qs.
Definitely.
And Fiddlesticks is right there, just sort of providing his own value. Ari's looking to go in here. Maybe we see a charm.
Oh,
There's
another
Maokai.
fight breaking out. And down goes
Damage from Riven.
Maokai.
Big kill for Ari.
Oh
Big
my
kill for Riven again.
goodness.
Ezreal just can't do anything to really stop these guys to poke him off. He's just sort of a sitting duck as Cal just stomps and marches through this UW base.
Yeah,
We're
this
gonna see
Riven
all
has
3 hits drop
huge
pretty
too.
quickly now.
Look at all those grubs. They're going in. Oh, Ezreal gets devoured.
Yep.
And
This is
not much
man.
more.
It's not looking great. I'm gonna be
No,
honest.
it
As much as
looks
I want to
like
say
this-
UW has a chance to pull this back, it's
We're
we're getting a little close.
Yeah, I think that's GG's.
That is looking
Unless
like
they can
GG's.
maybe.
We
Ult
see the
comes out to
knockout
maybe
come
delay.
through, try to stall it, but Cal is giving it no room
yeah.
whatsoever. They're just gonna try to burn this fountain as quick as possible. Burn
Yeah,
this
get those damage
next as
numbers
quick
up real
as
quick.
possible. Yeah, just pad the stats as soon as you can at the end of the game. See how much you can get, right? Ari's gonna try to land some of these charms, land some of these Qs. They're gonna back, and that's
There
game.
it is. Wow, what a
Jeez.
game. That felt like it had a quick switch right there.
Yeah, real quick turnaround for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, if you want to go first and sort of give me your takeaways of the game, I mean, you already kind of
Sure.
mentioned how quick that really was when it came to the
Mhm.
turnaround, right? I felt like we sat in a pretty slow early game. Everything was methodical. And then it sort of hit that like 7-minute mark and we see fight after fight after fight.
Yeah.
And then we look at, Cal and they rallied, right?
Mhm.
Where was UW's rally? Where do you think they really maybe struggled in this game?
Well, I think a huge part started with those fiddle ults, just
Yep.
because it felt like every single time that ult came off, there was value from it. And I think part of that was really the lack of vision that we kind of talked about, because if you know a Fiddlesticks is in the game, you have to expect him to be coming from somewhere. And especially if these ults have been so successful, you have to be on super high alert. And I think that just ended up working out way better for Cal than it did for UW. But I also think we started seeing Riven really start to pop off towards the end
Yeah.
there. I think
Yeah.
a little bit was from some plays I think were a little, I'll say risky on the side
Mhm.
of UW. I think they were trying to go for a little more than they needed to, which if it worked out, that could have been really successful. But I think in this case, it really ended up hurting them and people were able to get too strong for them to manage. And it just kind of snowballed from there. They couldn't do anything about the Riven. The Fiddlesticks was super
Yeah.
impactful and everyone was just able to do their job really well.
No, 100%. I absolutely agree with you about the Riven pickups. And it's one of those things we kind of see, you know, you look at competitive league and, you know, you could have somebody who really doesn't have much of an impact. And then once they hit that sort of prime part of the game, especially for their character and especially for how they're playing with their team, they can really sort of shine. And I think Riven was a prime example of that. You know, in the one-on-one, really couldn't do a lot. But when you look at the situation, you're going against a Poppy. So what can you really expect yourself to do? Where as soon as she's able to have that breakout situation where she's able to go into those team fights, sort of attack that backline using her Qs, really stun people and get them out of position to set them up for the fiddlesticks, having Tom Kench go in and back those off, and then having Senna just sort of hammering down with those auto attacks and with those Qs, right? It's just the perfect storm of strength that really lets a character like Riven shine, right? And I think, again, you know, we look at the overall implications of these team fights. And while I think UW had a really, really strong team to have some really awesome team fights, I didn't feel like they really had them. I really didn't feel like they used them to the best of their abilities. You know, we're looking back at this game, right? And Senna was 9-2. That is crazy. And we just see how much she was able to abuse that passive, right? But again, you're looking at everything, and I think if UW is going to pick a team comp like that, and they're going to pick the Maokai, they're going to pick the Talia, right? They need to prioritize those team fights, and they need to play them better. They cannot afford to let someone like Fiddle come out and control fights with his ult. You know, because I think the biggest thing is UW just got overwhelmed, right? When you have a Fiddlesticks ulti, you all get feared, and then you have a Tom Kench jump into your backline, and then all of a sudden half your health goes away because Senna autos you twice, right? It's like gets really, and then you get charmed, right? You know what I mean? It just stacks and stacks and stacks, and so I think we just need to see a little bit more control on the side of UW to really turn the tide. And you know, like I'm looking at the chat and I'm seeing a lot of, you know, they need to regroup. We need to see some regroups. Agreed. UW needs to regroup. They need to focus up and really, you know, try their best to sort of control these games a little bit and to control some of these fights. I really liked what I saw with the early Jace play. I think Jace being able to grow a lead, especially against an Ahri, allowed for Ahri to not be that pivotal carry. But again, man, what did we see from it? Not a lot, right? He kind of ended more negative than positive. So I'm really curious to see what this next draft looks like. What do we learn from this game? What do we pick up? You know, maybe do we see better bans, right? I am definitely in favor of banning that Fiddlesticks. If you find yourself losing to him that many times, you either have to sit down and really be honest with yourself. Okay, do we prioritize Vision to try and counteract, you know, his ability to really control the jungle, or do we just get rid of him, right? And then potentially open up a new can of worms to fight later on, right?
Exactly.
We'll see. We will see. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And just another thing, because you said it made me think, when the Fiddlesticks ulted, you're so right. He could ult, and then Tom Kench goes in, and then Senna just throws out her stun, and then you're all stunned, and then the Ahri charm comes out. There's just so much there, and it ended up working out so well for them. So I agree. I'll be really interested to see maybe who they ban instead this time, who they pick instead, because they really were doing well in the early game, but I think it just started to fall off, especially when Fiddle hit 6. He could start ulting, and it just snowballed. So crazy game 1.
No kidding. Yeah.
But I think with that, we're going to jump into a quick break, and we will see you after for game 2.
Sounds good.
All right, and here we are back with game 2, back in our champ select. We also, this time, no hesitation, Karma is out of here.
Yep, getting some deja vu again, right? These were the first 2 bans we saw last game, so
Yep.
keeping
Oh,
with it,
interesting.
UW knows what they don't want to see. But,
Yes.
is that the best thing in this scenario, right? The Senna ban now from the side of Cal. Kind of funny to see. Maybe they don't want to let that Senna pick, go up in the hands of UW. Maybe they don't want to give away some secrets and then the
Oh,
Fiddlesticks ban
there
in
it is.
response.
Yes.
So far already seen 2 powerhouses taken out from the last game. Gonna,
Yeah.
jumble up the teams a little bit this time.
Yeah, I think that was a really smart ban. I think it's just gonna make them not have to worry about those ults all the time. And
100%.
that's a good idea. Good call on that one. And a Belveth. I think that was also from last time as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Belveth was a ban we saw in the last pick. I'm a fan of it, pretty dominant, so always good to see that kind of taken out. So we got UW picking first. We'll see kind of what they choose to go. The Maokai is left up again. Maybe they, stay away from it a little bit because of last game, any superstition maybe left in, but see who they pick up.
Oh,
And there you
they do
go.
go for it.
Maokai back. I like it. I mean, again, we're talking about who was your successful points last game that you take away and bring into this game. Maokai was one of them. I love seeing the return.
Yes.
Now we got first 2 picks on the side of Cal. Gonna see kind of what they cook up now that they have, 2 missing points from the last game.
Yeah. Oh. Looks
Taking
like
the
they're
Ezreal
taking
from
the
UW.
Ezreal. Yeah.
Do we
Interesting.
see a Tom Kench again, right? Set up some team fights, or do we see someone new?
Oh, I don't know. I am not familiar with good supports to play with Ezreal as much.
Yeah, it's Ezreal is one of those really good supports where you kind of allow, yep, I was just gonna say, you allow for a really good roam early, right?
Mm.
Ezreal has that escape built into his kit, and so you don't need to have sort of the babysitting support sitting in the bot lane watching over it all the time. You can set up a good few kills early, get your Ezreal ahead, but as long as you have that CS lead, Ezreal wins, right? And he's able to get out, get in when he needs to, and sort of play his own game. I
Ooh.
love this Varus pick on the side of UW. Varus is another one of those ADCs, we talked about last game when we saw, I'm trying to remember who it was banned early on. That was kind of a strange one to see, but Varus is one of those that, the ult is strong, the late game is strong, the early game is strong with the passive, so I love the Varus pick.
Potentially a Samira? Was that it? Trying to
Yes,
remember.
yeah, Samira was the one, yeah. So Ezreal versus Varus, good little,
Ooh,
duel in the bot lane. We see another, sort of team fight heavy comp on the side of UW. Biggest thing I want to see from this Jarvan is ult. Do not hold anything back. That ult is up plenty of times. So use it, right?
Yeah.
Be the fiddlesticks from last game, UW, be that position. Even if it's just for a one-man pickup, it's pivotal in winning this game. And now we see the response from Cal coming in.
Ooh, a
Silas in the mid lane.
Silas.
I love it. He's got a lot of ults to work with, so why would you not? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Who needs to pick a Maokai, Varus, and a Jarvan when you have a Silas? You get them all for the price of one, and
exactly.
it's a huge pickup. So second round of bans coming in from the side of Cal. We'll see who they kind of take out right away. We see a mid lane and a top lane are open right now. So,
Mhm.
could really go any way. I don't think. All
Oh,
right,
they don't want that Jace.
I like it. Why not, right? Why not get rid of him? He was good last game.
Mhm.
Take out the comfort picks. You don't need to do any deep digging on the op.ggs, right? So I like it. Make it
Yeah, I
simple for
agree.
yourself.
Jax
Jack's ban, I
again.
like it. Good ban from the top lane. Take out that sort of 1v1 master in that top lane place.
Do you
And then
think
the
they'll
final
ban
ban.
the Riven as well?
No, actually, I don't. I think, obviously with Cal banning the TF, I think they know that the top lane is still pretty open. The Fiora ban is
Mm,
good. Yeah, I think when you look at that last game and you compare it to this one, the Riven really only opened up as a good pick because UW lost the team fight. And
mm.
so it's not necessarily worth a ban right away. or a ban in general if you have the confidence to win the team fights this game. And I think UW is really recognizing that they need to. So we'll see
Yeah.
what Cal picks up, in these mid and top lanes. I guess that would be Cal for their jungle. We see the Talia get picked up now for them.
Yes.
Traded the Fiddlesticks for the Talia, trading picks back and forth. They took the Ezreal, they took the Talia.
Yes.
Kind of funny to see.
I know.
Maybe they take the Poppy too. Would be interesting.
These team fights. Oh, Orianna.
This would be a huge pickup for UW. Again, team
I
fights.
love it.
Team fight right there.
Orianna has a soft spot in my heart, so I'm just excited to be able to see it played. And the last pick be their top.
Yep, looking like it.
Let's see.
Again, we could see the flex with the Maokai, but I don't imagine we see it. Yep, looking like a top Poppy.
Yeah, I mean, Poppy
So-
was holding their own last game in the
Yeah,
earliest.
it really was a good 1v1 person. I think they might be anticipating the Riven pick, with that Poppy pick, but Cal has a chance to really, mix it up a little bit right now.
Oh,
Garen, ooh,
that would have
I was
been
gonna say
so
the Garen was a
funny.
little weird, but I like the Gnar pick if this is what they stick, and it looks like it is. Ooh, a quick Yone turnaround at the end. All right, so
No spin to win. Oh well.
yeah, this is an interesting change in pace. We're looking at who everybody has, and I mean, unless that Maokai and Poppy switch, that's sort of a lockdown in the bot lane, right? Poppy with her W is able to stop a lot of the Rakan dashes and a lot of the Ezreal escape. So, yep, there we go. I was gonna say I would have been very shocked to see that pickup stay, but who knows? Maybe UW had some secret tech plan that they didn't want anyone to know about. But I mean, again, Poppy into Yone is still a great pick, right? You have the Q dash on the side of Yone, and then you have the Poppy W, right? Smack him up when he tries to go in on you, but even then, that's a heavy damage dealer top lane into not much of a fighter. So we'll see kind of how it flows with the match. I think all in all, UW has picked to win, in my opinion. If we're choosing who won draft, I like UW. I like the team fight picks, and I think as long as they play it well, that's my winner already, right? But again, felt good about UW's picks last game and didn't go so well. So I have faith. I have hope. I think UW pulls this one through, but Cal's got the discipline. They played from kind of a flusterful early game one, if that's even a word, right? And they came back from it. So we'll see. I think just in general, the Cal play has been a little bit more reactive until they knew that they had that window, and then they went in for the kill. And I think UW needs to really establish their identity quick, because if they don't, that bear is coming and it's going to get you.
Yeah, you can kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't really seem like Cal has much of a traditional tank, or kind of someone who would be the beefy brawler.
Yeah, the big front line, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be interested. I know Silas can build a bit more tanky, and obviously Yone and Silas have that lifesteal they can build, but I'll be interested to see how that works, because last time they had Tom, who was able to just be the kind of punching bag in a way to take all the damage. But
yeah, I think when you look in terms of who's the engage on the side from Cal, they obviously have a few different good pivotal pieces with the Yone, the Silas, the Rakan, but I think this game is really going to be, on the shoulders of Rakan to set up good picks and for Silas to sort of command that back line, right? Varus is one of those where he wants to auto attack. He wants to grow his passive. He wants to land those skill shots. He wants to land that Q, the long range Q. So I think on the side of UW, a lot of their damage is going to be coming from that mid lane and that ADC, where on the side of Cal, we see sort of the top lane is that little kind of extra piece to it. Same with Talia, right? Talia had a lot of damage yield last game, and so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Cal has a little bit more damage dispersed, whereas UW maybe is a little bit more, pivotal on a fewer champions, but we'll see. I think a lot of it is going to, time will tell. I think right now going into this game, again, I'm standing on it right now. I'm standing on that take that those grubs are good. You know, I feel like whether it's a personal thing against them or just tough setup from kills early from the Jace on the side of UW, right? I think UW needs to prioritize those grubs a little bit, and obviously coming from the blue side, you're maybe in a little bit of a better position to command them, but we'll see, man. It's really tough having a top lane on the side of Cal that wants to fight and a top lane on the side of UW that maybe doesn't. Maybe just wants to sort of chill, keep the Yone top side, you know, keep him there. Don't let him leave sort of thing. We'll see. But heading into this next one, this will be interesting.
Yeah, my biggest hope is I just hope we see some good Jarvan Oriana combos.
Absolutely.
On it. That's just cross my fingers. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, got some really good synergy right there. So we will definitely see.
Yeah, but looks like any second we'll be heading into this game. And drum roll. The anticipation is building.
Here's your little skin spotlight, as you mentioned last time.
Yeah.
And we're back. All right. So you talked about a little bit last game, you know, are there any sort of early cheeky plays, right, on the side of UW or Cal? And we saw bot lane early game last time. We had Senna Tom poking out UW a little bit. Now we have, sort of an inverse in position. Looks like Cal is going back for that, quote unquote cheese setup with the Varus bot lane, maybe sort of stacking some early damage. All right, he's coming back up to that rye bush there.
Yeah. See some pings.
We see a meet of the junglers right now, sort of a phenomena you don't see quite a bit, but just kind of looking at each other top side, pushing for ground, wanting to get a ward down, maybe not, just gauging where they're at. Question mark pings, vision pings going up.
Yeah, nothing crazy, like you said.
Nah.
Good little 5-point start.
We got, right now we got Jarvan playing for blue. So wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see on the side of UW after full clear Jarvan goes for a gank bot side. I think that would be huge. Again, like UW needs to command some of these fights, man. They can't wait for Cal to make the mistake every time. You have a team fight comp. You gotta use it. So curious to see how this goes. Early poke coming out on the side of Cal against the Maokai. Maokai's kind of a damage sponge, so it doesn't super matter if it comes down, but any damage is good damage at the end of the day. So we'll see how it goes.
Khan just kind of hanging out in the bush. Gonna be battle for the bush presence, potentially. But those saplings can always help with that.
Yep. We don't see any, no heal on Cal or UW, so this is definitely, some aggro on both these lanes. Then we see, TPs on all the solo lanes. No early aggression with that ignite.
Yes. Ooh, lots of poke coming out there.
Yep. Hop lane's already looking like more favorable on the side of UW, but you talked about that lifesteal, right? And that shield capabilities from Yone. So Talia's up there. She's in a hovering position. If that Poppy isn't careful, that's a little bit of a backdoor play. We see Talia moving in. This could be a really big pickup on that top side.
Oh,
might pull a flash. All right, little E on the side of.
Flash comes out.
Oh, huge flash. Predict from Yone. Early first blood for Cal. That was a huge Q on Yone picking up that Poppy from the flash. You hate to see that. No sums in the top lane now on the side of UW. Goodness.
Early gank, but that was really well played. You got to give credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, man, that was well executed, right? You sit on those Krugs, you get that level 3, and then you push off the Krugs, push up to the top side. Poppy's a little too big for her britches in that case. So, interesting to see. And now we have Jarvan clearing his red, potentially looking to maybe get some value on the inverse, right? This is, I think, the biggest thing that UW needs to respond to. They can't let Cal just get free value whenever they want, right? There needs to be a look for trades. And obviously, that was a really early one to see. So there's still time, but UW needs to rally in that case. We see good control of the wave in the bot lane. Looking like it's probably going to be a reset after we get these last minions from Ezreal. Waves are resetting, so it should be a fair crash and then, Wave's going to crash on the side of UW. Bot turret. We see pretty healthy trades on the side of Orianna into Sylas, so...
Yeah. I think that comes down to the melee range kind of
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But I think with that fight, it's obviously early games, so not like terrible, but definitely they need to take it into consideration because that can just keep happening. So not over, but definitely take note.
Yeah, don't want to let Cal, don't want to give Cal an inch to let Cal take a mile, really, as in what it comes down to.
Ooh,
good plays from the Ori.
And
Jarvan needs to get in here a little bit, though. Talia's still in a position where maybe she can turn some of this. It looks like UW's going to have to back off a little bit. Maokai is there, though, so if there is any case of, push, we might see it now with the Maokai. Pings are coming out, questioning sort of, why are you here, buddy? This is sort of weird. You're pushing up a little bit too far. Sylas comes back down. Collapses onto the Maokai. We see Jarvan push in. Jarvan gets the kill on the Sylas. Perfect play side of UW to sort of shut that Sylas up. Maybe you should have backed a little bit earlier, buddy, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that ended up going a lot better than it looked like it was going to go, at least from this point of view. But, it looks like...
All right, Maokai wants more. Nice!
And
big poppy pickup.
And the grubs at the same time.
Yeah, see, so maybe they're watching the stream, right? We see already some really good changes in gameplay on the side of UW, and this is what I love to see, right? Good priority within the top lane, good priority within the mid lane, right? We're getting good pickups. Poppy's getting some trades on the Yone, but again, can't let these picks, don't get too excited by a little bit of success, right? Both sides are playing this reactive league. This is sort of the phase we're in right now. Everything is reactive, right? We see Cal now going for the dragon trade. Super common to see when one side takes grubs, the other side is likely to take drag. Yone has the ult, could see a collapse here, but we see the Maokai and the Jarvan kind of coming up as a response. Yep, there's the Yone ult.
Big ult.
Doesn't really matter though. Big stop by the Jarvan ult coming in. Yone picks up one, tries to pick up two more. This could be a huge fumble on the side of UW. We see Yone coming in with the Q.
This is a little scary.
Picks up the Q, dodges the Jarvan. Jarvan goes in for the flash.
There we go.
Jarvan kills the Yone. Big kills.
I don't know.
Jarvan, dominant Jarvan right now. Yeah. But this is good. This is what we want to see, right? Take those risks. Take those good fights. And prioritize how much team fight you have, right? Great flashes all around. Really good play from both sides. There's a lot of really good guesses and whatnot. We see now Talia trying to maybe go in for a little bit of a risky take. Going in for that Varus. Does she get it? Doesn't quite get it.
Oh, wow. What a kill.
And now Ori a trade. Do we see it? Ooh, this is going to be close. Sylas wants it. Sylas knows he wants it.
It looks like it's going to escape. Both the Varus and the Orianna, I think, are going to survive.
Yeah. Jeez.
Man, these are close fights. Oh,
and I mean, once again, now we see it mid setup against the Sylas. Do we see an Ori ult following the Jarvan play? Doesn't look like it. Looks like it might back off, but yeah, as you were saying, I mean, these are quick fights that are really setting the situation for this game. Really curious to see how some of these team fights go once we start bringing in all 5 from each side, but so far so good on the side of UW. Really looking like some good, good pickups.
Yeah, good adjustments being made.
100%, and we see sort of, we see some good Maokai movement, getting some vision in on their side, pushing up for that vision like we talked about. I think that's great to see. That's going to be a huge piece in commanding this game, right?
Absolutely.
See Talia and Sylas maybe looking into the bot jungle, clearing some vision, clearing just farm in general, Jarvan clearing top side. Now, UW is pushed up a little bit into this Cal bot lane, so hopefully we're not seeing too much, extra interest. We have pings coming out on the side of UW, so they know that the Talia is there. That's how useful that vision is in really establishing, answering some of those questions of the what if, should we maybe be this pushed up, maybe not, right? And it allows UW to play off of that really well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's a great change from last game. They are taking notes on what went wrong and implementing them, which is the best thing you can do with the loss. So
absolutely.
But now it kind of looks like just a farming period. Not a lot going on.
Yep, kind of waiting for those objectives to come up, right? We see a bounty forming on the Jarvan. You know, I think Cal really wants to set something up with his bot lane. We've seen Talia sort of hovering for a little bit. Silas is even moving around a little bit. So you can tell that Cal wants something. Maybe they don't know how to get it quite yet, but they want something. They're aching to sort of get some sort of setup. But again, these wards on the side of UW have been pivotal in making sure that they didn't lose any early value, right? And so even now we see pings coming up, questioning that Talia on the Dragon Pit. We see pings on the side of Cal, you know, looking for vision in that far jungle, right? We see Maokai moving up with the Jarvan. Looks like they want a fight on that top side, setting up for grubs as well. So, I mean, really, this is in the hands of UW in my mind. This is sort of, everything is getting controlled well.
Yep, you see.
Big stop on the Yone ult.
Yes. Flash comes out. Oh, we see a
little
fight
bit of a
break out
collapse
in
on
the
the
mid lane.
Ori. We see Talia sort of responding. Does Silas
Trying
get
to
to
run.
this? Talia there, but sees the
comes
Jarvan,
out.
backs off a little bit. Rakan is there. We could see a good fight. Maokai comes up now. Stuns on the Rakan. Do they burn the Rakan out? Maokai ult coming out.
From Silas. And
Drop
Maokai
on the
goes down.
Maokai.
Oh, so
Trying to pick up this Silas, and they get it.
able to get
you
the
know?
kill.
Talia's
Flash comes
back.
out. The smite.
They want it all. They want to finish it off. They want to finish it off.
Oh, that was a really
Big
big
knockup.
hit.
Jeez.
Wow.
I mean, big kill for the Ori, big knockup for the Rakan, right? Lots of value from both sides, and now we see a solo ult from the Varus. Not quite enough mana to really do anything else, and not enough time to get any of those autos out. See a TP mid lane. Silas wants this kill. He's determined to get this kill, and Ori is coming out. Maokai taking out the Rakan. Now it's a Maokai versus Silas. Not quite what the Silas wanted to see there. Really was hoping to maybe get some, you know, finish on that. Yone coming down, Talia coming down. This is part 2 to the last big fight, you know.
Everyone is so low. Oh my goodness.
Looking like we might now see some reset on the side of UW. That does allow Cal to come in and take grubs, but honestly, 3 for 3 is a great time. You know, it's a great place to be in, right? It's a great position to be in. You're not giving up too much. We see some leads growing right now on the side of UW. UW's jungle. Big pickup from the Varus. Big snipe.
Yes.
Love to see it.
That was, wow.
Man.
This has been
It's a very different game from the last one.
Yes. Lots of fights. Lots of really close fights, though.
Yep.
We know that.
Yeah, this is just kind of coming down to the technique, right? We see a lot of really good discipline on the side of UW, not staying too much, which I think, you know, like we talked about, they really learned from their last one. So
yes.
And I think we're kind of getting a little bit of what you were asking for, right? The Orianna's coming online a little bit. So
oh, I love it.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see that become even more valuable later on in some of these team fights. Now we see another fight sort of brewing in the bot lane. Cal needs this. They need it. I mean, they're looking at this and they want it. Knock up on the Jarvan. Jarvan's down. Ezreal looking for a solo kill on this Maokai. He wants it. He needs it. He sees it. Going in for kill. Nice.
Gets it.
Big flash. Worth it, in my opinion. You know, claiming some value on the side of Cal, trying to sort of reel back UW in this case. Silas is pushing up for us. Silas has been looking for that. And a little bit of a whiffed ult into the trade on the Orianna. You know, Orianna kind of said, that's mine, thank you, took it back, and ulted him right back and forces him off of that wave. So, man,
this is an interesting interaction with how it works for Silas, huh?
Yeah, not not as valuable as being able to sort of throw a projectile out and then use that for the ult. You kind of got to throw. You are the projectile in that case. So
yes.
Not always
Maokai
the best case.
Walks right into both of them. Able to stop
sort of going, I know you're here. Big ult from the
look at that damage.
Varus. Yep. 2 pickup for the Varus. Huge setting that up. Maokai's in a position where he can maybe shut some stuff down. Yone ult coming out, taking out the Ezreal, or taking out the Varus, sorry. Now moving on to the Maokai. Looking to pick up the Maokai. Maokai gets a trade on the Talia.
And it's just just a
trade fest, you know? It's just a trade fest.
Yes. Wow, that was
Silas going in now for the Poppy. Doesn't quite get it. Procs the tower onto the Poppy, but it doesn't really matter. She's so tanky anyways.
Yeah, a couple of shutdowns coming out here. And now we can see... Oh, wow. I think Varus just gave a shutdown and already has gold still.
Yep.
So
that double kill definitely helps out a little bit and just goes to show how powerful that pick can really be. And we talked about early, right? Who are the big pedestal damage roles, coming on the side of UW, and it's that mid lane, that ADC, and we even see some of that jungle. So I think overall, really utilizing the right people at the right times for these trades and for these fights. We see a little bit of a fight sort of maybe starting on the side of the top lane, sort of around this Herald. Looking like I wouldn't be surprised if Al maybe wants to get it, gather some value. They have 2 dragons to UW's none, so it'll be interesting to see if the game lasts long enough to where dragons really start becoming even more of a threat into this late game. But even now, Yone's sort of outpositioned right now in the bot lane, while UW claiming mid lane control as well as that Herald. Wouldn't be surprised if Yone tries to take the bot turret in response. But it's just looking like UW is taking every chance they get to, really set themselves up for success this game.
Yeah, there's some interesting positioning going on. A lot of split people. I'm not too sure. But yeah, that turret went down bot lane. And Orianna's taking the spot to kind of get that farm that's down there.
Yeah.
But that was interesting. Nothing really happened, but it looked like a lot wanted to happen.
Yeah. And I think that just sort of comes from Cal recognizing what they need to be doing, recognizing sort of the macro play and the micro play that they need to be, figuring out, just not necessarily being in the ability to do it, not being able to finish it off, right? Just because of how the game is setting up right now. So a big thing I wanted to point out, especially with Herald right now, is some of the big changes that have happened is Herald no longer spawns while turret plates are up, right? So the big thing that you would see with the Shelly positioning and the Shelly plays was it was a chance to really get some really high value from the charges, right? And now you don't get that, and instead that's traded with the grub spawn as well as, just how valuable it is to take towers. So UW has a chance right now to maybe claim that mid turret and some of that second tier turret to, open up the mid lane even more for better roams on the side of Maokai. But we'll see kind of what they choose to do, right? Jarvan's holding on to that and just establishing more and more in terms of vision and control across the whole map. We see a lot of blue wards to not a lot of red wards. So I think that's a pretty big tell on how the game's going so far.
Yeah, the gold lead is pretty even for the most part. I believe UW still has a couple of shutdowns to their name, but I don't know. I think, like you said, the objective control is probably going to come into play a bit more here soon. But right now it's looking like side laning and just taking care of what needs to be taken care of. Not a whole lot of fighting just yet.
Absolutely.
Though we see some grouping kind of towards that dragon. Really interesting. Oh, going in on the Orianna here.
Maokai's right there to respond. See some movement on the Talia, looking like they're going to try and collapse on it, maybe save the Yone.
Ooh. Ult comes
See
out.
the redemption proc come down from the Maokai. Now the damage on the Talia. Rakan sort of tries to come in, maybe tries to get out. Poppy's there to stop him. Jarvan's there to take off the kill. Maokai's stuck behind a wall. Big pickup from Talia.
Oh, and there was the Herald.
On the red turret.
Flash comes out from Ezreal. His ult comes out as well.
The 1v1 of the ADCs right now in Varus. Looks like he takes it. Yes, he does. And now we see
still skirmishing down here.
Yeah.
Orianna comes back, full health.
Khan comes in, comes back out. Orianna picks up one kill. Silas picks up another kill. Orianna picks up another kill, and Poppy with the last one. Big double kill on the side of blue.
And they aced him.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yone now being forced to kind of take that top side, really not seeing a lot of value in those team fights. And I think that Poppy has been there for just about every single one of his big ults. And she's doing her job, She's shutting it down, really controlling the fights. First dragon on the side of UW. We're going to see Cal take the top side turret, try to gather as much value as possible across the map. But, man, these skirmishes have not gone the way Cal has really wanted them to. And that, I think, is really showing in these team fights. UW looks calm and collected. They look like they know what they want to do. They look like they know how they want to play these fights. they don't mind backing off to just go back in even more afterwards, right? And I think that's a huge lesson they learned from game 1.
I know, it has been crazy how much the UW players have been able to survive with just a little bit left, but they're still going in. And then I believe what happened there was Orianna backed and then TP'd in, I assume.
Yep.
And so that was just really, I don't even know how to describe that. It was a great play.
Yeah, 100%.
But looks like now setting up for the Baron, or at least getting some vision down. Kind of split up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think that the biggest thing we've seen so far, too, on both sides of this game have really been just how quickly teams are swarming, right? Anytime there's a big worth it fight and teams value that, we see just how quickly everybody sort of comes in. TPs do not take long to get dropped. We don't see ults take long to drop either. And I think that's just been a testament, again, to how much team fight has been in this game so far, right? On both sides. Maokai, once again, sort of being that bully character on the side of UW, and Varus is now playing against this Talia. And it's a trade, right?
Oh,
man.
So much going on. Fights everywhere now.
Pickup off the
out.
Yone, taking him out. Jarvan gets the pickup on the Rakan. Nice.
Ori on a double kill again.
Big double kill for the Ori. Poppy is now just sort of toying with this Sylas. You know, Sylas can't really do anything. And now we see Jarvan maybe come down, try to pick up this Ezreal.
Oh, yeah, Ezreal.
Maokai coming in as well, looking for the lockdown. There it is. And we see Jarvan come in and done. There you go.
Yep.
Lights out. Jarvan went in, took all, right? And we see, once again, we look at the bot lane and Poppy and Sylas are just doing their own thing, right? But it's allowed. This is how you want to see Poppy played, right? You want to see Poppy in the position where she can kind of just do her own thing. You don't need her to be there. She doesn't need to be the star of the show in every single situation. I mean, let's highlight Cody for a minute here, right? We see on this Varus, I mean, he's popping off, right? He's to the point now where these plays are allowing the Varus to 1v1 in 1v2 scenarios, right?
Oh,
and it's huge. The damage output is huge. And that is going to be pivotal. Big ult landing. Maokai comes in for the lockdown.
Oh,
and we see another Ori kill. Varus continuing the poke, chasing down with that long range Q, the full charge.
That was like half his health.
Yep, we see Jarvan coming in now, looking to pick up on the Sylas. I mean, it's just a forward march on the side of UW. Big Jarvan ult looking like it could be a come up right here. Yep, there's two. There's the Ori ult as well.
You see Maokai fall. Kind of got split up here. Trying to choose who they want to go for.
Yeah, looking like, you know, they're able to sort of split that up, though. And I think that's, you know, really helping out UW in this case. Varus and Orianna are not really a duo you want to try to go in against on the side of Cal. So yeah, they get a free turret right there. Baron is up, but we do see vision control favored on the side of Cal. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe UW looks to reset first and then go in. But I mean, overall, great plays, right? You come out of it with a turret, you come out of it with kills. It's exactly what you want to see. These little executions go a long way in terms of setting up this game. This is what you love to see.
Yeah, there's been lots of fights that have worked out. And like you said, we even mentioned early game how there's TPs from both of the solo lanes. So they are just able to kind of run to the fights, and it's resulted in some big plays.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, might be looking more for dragon control.
Yep. Which is really interesting to see, you know. I think I'm not sure, you know, sort of the thought process going into it, but I'm sure there's some sort of plan going on, right? Gathering the mid control on the side of Cal, looking to have that wave pushing back against UW. Really trying to protect this last turret. Sylas is a lone man on his island, and we see UW go in. Ori ult, Maokai tank, and he's gone. See ya. Now we see Talia try to pick up this Maokai kill.
Yep.
Looking like she might be able to do it. Nice. Big kill. UW is together. They're in a place where if they need to go in, they can, and if not, they don't need to.
Yeah, that was definitely
you see a really big ult on the side of Jarvan here. Try to lock someone down. Rakan pops his to try to get out, try to escape a little bit. Poppy's going back in, trying to lock someone down. Again, reactive league, right? UW doesn't need to give everything just to set up a kill. They're already well ahead. They can poke out. They can play these team fights. They're going to get the drag, and that's all the value they need, right? Huge to see.
Yeah.
Poppy's just sort of zoning out this Yone, zoning out the Rakan. Any chance somebody walks up, she doesn't want her there, she gets rid of them. It's perfect to see.
Yep. And now we are tied with the amount of dragons per team. And I think it was Cal with both the dragons before
Yep.
UW got any. So those team fights have really helped them secure the objectives in their favor.
Yeah, let's try to get the scoreboard up here just so we can kind of see where the value is lying on both sides. But, you know, we talk about, you know, who is somebody that we need to take out, right?
Oh,
that's
man.
a pretty hefty setup with that Ori, right? The 8-0 with a pretty big bounty is, you know, juicy from the side of Cal. They want to take that out. And now we see a little bit of play going in, maybe a bait with the Sylas. But the Talia kind of locked out the Ezreal a little bit. Not exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, it looks like Oriana's in trouble.
And Ori falls to the Ezreal. Ezreal looking to try to claim some of this value, set himself up with a little bit more items.
He's trying to get out of there.
And does Jarvan die? Yes, he does. Ezreal again coming out with that value.
Wow.
Cal is maybe claiming a little bit more here. Yone TP to the mid lane, kind of a weird pickup, but I know they're going for that Baron. They want to try to get as much value in as they can after those two huge pickups on the side of Cal. So we'll see how this flows. Sylas wants more. Sylas wants this Varus bad, but looks like Maokai's going to be able to take that ult, take some of the heat off of him.
Yeah,
Poppy, Varus, and Maokai look like they can move in. Not sure we'll see a steal, but big knock away from the Poppy.
Yep.
Maybe we will see a steal, actually.
Really close. Oh,
no, man.
Got it.
Good save on the side of Cal.
Looks like Poppy's gonna fall as well. Wow, that was a huge bounty.
No kidding.
And both went to
But even then, you know, you look at Ori hat, you know, sitting with that 1,000 gold bounty, right? And now we see her; she still has the 300, right? So,
yeah.
You know, 8-1 is you're still powerful. But I think that was some really pivotal pickups for Cal, especially on their ADC. You know, Ezreal getting some of that value. That goes straight into items, and that translates straight into strength into the game. Or he picks up a kill. I mean, yeah, this duo we see in the top lane right now, this is going to be who commands this fight on the side of UW. And they're going to need to keep, you know, sort of rolling in these team fights. I think biggest thing right now is the response by Cal. Cal is rallying, right? This is what we saw game 1. So even though we're a little later, it doesn't quite change the impact that we see, especially in the team fights. So really curious to see how this goes. They're getting every use of the Baron right there, you know. Yeah, gold shifted, right? So
even with the kills, it's not in their favor anymore. Not in UW's favor. So we'll see.
Cal's still respecting some of the strength on the side of UW. I think they recognize that, you know, just because they had a little bit of success around that Baron pit, they still have to make sure that they're not overstaying their welcome anywhere, right? And not pushing too far up into the enemy side. Poppy gets that bot turret now. First time bot turret drops this game on the side of UW against Cal. So pretty, you know, pretty standard stuff. But I think biggest thing to look at now map-wise is Cal's mid lane is pretty open. And I think UW is going to want to play around that. We're looking at objectives now. Drag's the next one up. It's even drags right now. So, you know, this is going to come down to who sets up what, right? Turrets are going to be a little bit harder to take. Ezreal's ult is kind of now the inverse poke instead of the Varus Q. So, yeah, damage is coming out wherever it can. Looks like Cal wants to maybe set something up with this Talia, this Yone coming up, this Sylas pulling down. Ori is top lane, might try to do a tell where she's going to reset. So.
Yeah. I know, it'll be interesting. I feel like it's kind of just going to come down to who makes a mistake and if they can capitalize off of it. Because it's really even. Ooh, looks like they might be trying to collapse.
Yeah, trying to see some value collapsing on this Poppy, but Jarvan is right there, sort of kicking everybody out. Maybe they turn and just go for that Jarvan instead.
Oh, the
Big
charm.
ult from the Yone, taking out the Jarvan, taking out the Poppy. Good pickup from the Ezreal, but here's UW to respond, right? Ezreal drops quick from that Varus, and now we see
man, the Rakan
this is sort of a split fight a little bit. Varus is a little out-positioned, you know? Dang.
Wow.
Not what you want to see on the side of UW. They sort of gave a lot with that team fight push from Cal, but they give up Dragon here.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of unfortunate because it looked like the Maokai really wanted to catch the, I believe it was Yone off guard, but they all just ended up collapsing the other way.
Yeah,
so
100%.
they were too split. Let's
there
see.
You go. Oh, didn't quite get the pickup onto the Varus. Yone gets it regardless. Big pickup on that Varus. Looking like it's going to be mid-turret. It's going to fall on the side of UW.
What a shift. And it was all down to that fight.
Kidding. No kidding. Yeah, that Baron pit fight really seems to have changed the momentum of this game, right? We're going to look at Dragon spawning back. It should be around 2 minutes or so from now. 2 to 3 minutes from now. So we'll see that. That play is probably going to be a pretty big, pretty pivotal fight just within this match. And then Baron's obviously going to be coming up relatively soon as well. So, yeah, this is going to get interesting. You know, there's pings coming out onto the bot lane, and I'm not quite sure that the bot lane is really the focus at this point, right? We see some value coming in now on the side of Cal within the top lane in the jungle. You know, the Sylas has been doing okay, right? He's sort of picking some stuff up. I think he's been more of a utility pick right now, especially going in this late game where we really see value coming in from the Ezreal, right? He's sort of being that damage dealer for the side of Cal where Varus is filling that position in UW. So,
yeah,
you know, a little bit of quiet from the side of Orianna, right? We saw that last fight where it looked like she tried to get a pickup with her ult, and I'm not sure if there were just flashes or maybe some Zhonya's coming out from Natalia, but didn't quite see the value that I think UW was really hoping for on that. Baron's coming up in a minute just off of that Yone ping, so we'll see what happens there, but, you know, bot lane is right back to common schedule, you know, Poppy and Yone 1v1 again with the Sylas and Ori in the top lane, you know, 3-on-3 in the mid lane, so we'll see how this sort of peels out.
Kind of similar to how the Fiddle was able to be so dominant last game. It's kind of like Rakan is filling that role in a way. So he just comes in and charms everyone, and can't really fight if you're charmed like that. So an interesting ult come out.
Looking like Maokai wants to try to come in and get some value. We see a Talia flash off of the Zhonya's, but Ezreal sort of just peppering these guys down with damage. Big Yone pickup with the ult. Ezreal's right there to keep hammering damage down. Talia pops over with her ult, and we just sort of see a little bit of crumble on the side of UW. Cal is really deciding they want it all. Man, yeah, the Maokai not really being able to stay into that fight, I think really changed the flow on the side of UW. And, you know, is Maokai kind of trying to do something? It looks like maybe he's trying to take the minion wave off, stop the push on the side of Cal, but it doesn't really matter. They still have at least one minion there to get some value, especially with the Ezreal E passive, so, or the Ezreal W passive, sorry. And now it looks like they're going to try to get some final value from the Baron. Looks like Maokai's going to try and just sacrifice himself. Tower not giving any kills. It is what it is. This is a pretty free Baron on the side of Cal. So this is going to be tough, right? Even though kills are in favor of UW, right? That really doesn't translate when you look at the gold change. This is a massive gold difference growing, and it's just going to keep getting wider and wider if these fights don't go in the way of UW.
Yeah, I know. I think that fight, it might have just come down to how much of the ults and utility was used on the Rakan. It kind of left them with nothing left at the end to fight off the other bigger targets. Like that Yone ult was insane.
100%.
The Talia was able to block him off with her ult, so that was just well played there too.
Yeah, when you look at how much poke, you know, Cal is bringing into these fights, right? When you have somebody like an Ezreal in those close quarter situations, I mean, you just get free combos for Ezreal. And so you're just gaining free damage over and over and over again. And it's the same thing with the Talia, right? You can kind of just sit in one spot and farm your Q passive to just keep getting those bigger and bigger boulders to do more and more damage. And then, you're right with that Yone kind of coming in, ulting everybody up, keeping them isolated, right? And then you have the Sylas coming in, taking the Maokai ulting everyone down. There's just so
Yes.
much synergy off of these picks, and UW, I think, again, is getting a little overwhelmed, but it's not, all hope is not quite lost. There is some really good setup possibility
man.
here. They just cannot let Talia get away with an easy kill like that. I love the Jarvan
Yes.
ult here. Rakan trying to come in and get everybody down, but UW looking to take away the
shutdown.
Talia. Big kills from the Varus coming out. You love to
Yes.
see it.
That was good. That was a good shutdown for them.
Now, the only tough thing is we do see people having to back off because Silas and Yon are pushing, right? They have the Baron, and so that's the one thing you run the risk of, you know? You're going to lose some value somewhere, but you're going to gain it other places, and, you know,
Huge shutdown
UW's going
there,
to get this dragon, but what do they give for it? It looks like it's at least going to be a top turret, maybe even a bot turret, and, man, pretty soon we're going to have base cracked. Not looking good.
Yeah. This is definitely going to be tough. They're able to get the dragon, and they got some little extra gold for that.
Yeah.
But their base is looking little bare.
100%. UW trying to kind of cancel down on this, you know, on these plays, on these pushes, trying to punish the stay. We see a good pickup from the Ori. 2 kills for the Orianna, gaining more value right there as well. No turrets on the side of UW protecting these inhibs, but I don't think it really matters for them right now. Really, they're just trying to sort of gain back that gold lead and establish a little bit more of their own lead, right? They're trying to push out the mid and the bot turrets. I think that's huge in claiming back the map control, right? We see it's even drags once again. Baron's going to come up in 3 minutes. Drag's going to come up in 4.5. So we're going to see a little bit of a lull period right now between both teams, and it's going to really come down to what fights get set up and who drops when, right? Poppy's going to be pushing out that top lane. Luckily, no super minions in any of the lanes yet for UW, so they're not going to lose too much if they don't have somebody there to watch those lanes. But again, I mean, value dropping everywhere, and now we see Varus might fall on the side of UW.
TP coming in.
Big TP coming in. Talia has a good Zonia's play. They're able to take out the Rakan. That's going to be huge in controlling this team fight, but Varus does fall. And here we see, does Ezreal fall? Ezreal gets the kill on the Ori. That is not what you want to see. But Ori is able to trade.
Yeah, able to get...
Looking pretty even right now. Even with, you know, Silas is still up, Yon's still up, right? And so not a lot of power on the side of UW to really finish off any of these pushes, thankfully, for the side of Cal. But, I mean, regardless, these are really tough plays. You know, the wrong people are falling at the wrong times. And that's not what you want to see.
Yeah, and these death timers are starting to get up there.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's, I mean, luckily, right, we're still a little far out from these objectives, so it's not too bad. But you got to be careful with these sort of limit testing plays where if you're not able to gain the majority value from it, you know, was it really worth it, right? And I think right there, you could argue that that's a situation where ults are going to come back up, you know, and was it really worth it on the side of UW to push that far up and not get anything else out of it, right? So we'll see, but I know there was a little bit of focus on the side of UW trying to claim that tier 2 bot turret and maybe a little bit of focus trying to build wave to claim that tier 2 top turret, but it doesn't look like we're going to see any further push on the side of UW. Cal is still sort of maintaining good control, able to turtle their base a little bit more and, you know, just sort of dictate what's happening on both sides. But overall, I think we're at a little bit more of a lull. Baron's coming up in a minute. We have Drake coming up in 2.5. So, you know, I anticipate some bigger fights coming up here pretty quick.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard when you don't have any of your turrets for your base. You kind of have to be really careful on where you go, but it looks like there's either going to be a push for that dragon from Cal, and I would assume that UW wants to try and counter that as much as possible.
100%.
See, quick reset. And some pings headed towards the Baron area. There's lots of vision.
Yep.
And Maokai's kind of hanging out.
Cal trying to maybe clear the Maokai out of their jungle. Maybe this would be a big pickup on the side of Cal if they're able to sort of shut him up early, but it doesn't look like we're going to see it quite yet. Jarvan in a position to maybe go in a little bit, but we see a big charm on the side of Rakan. Rakan trying to get even more value further on. Silas jumping over, trying to collapse onto this Orianna. Good zonias on the side of Rakan, dodging the Varus ult. So Sylas has the Ori ult. We could see a big play around this Baron, but UW has no jungler. And there's going to be an objective that falls here soon, right? I like what I'm seeing right now with Cal pushing for this Baron. I think it's the right play. And the timers are lined up to where you could potentially grab both. And UW recognizes it. We see a little bit of a push from Maokai. We see the Varus trying to come in, clearing out the Yone. Poppy looked like she was going to ult something out. They don't quite get it. Do they fall back or do they stay? We see the Varus potentially looking to stay. But we see the Sylas is right back in the backline going up on Varus. Ezreal gets a kill. Sylas takes out the Varus. And now it's just sort of a slaughter fest. Ezreal taking out anybody he sees, right? Ori is able to get a trade, but it just doesn't quite matter. Ezreal now going from even to 11 and 8. We see the Yone TPing to the bot lane, right? Waves are going to be pushing out with that Baron buff, and Drag's coming up. You know, big damage in the mid lane, pushing up that mid turret, or pushing up that mid inhib, I should say.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of a collapse coming down on this Yone, but it doesn't really matter because you just have that Baron buff, and Sylas is now coming in too. Potentially going to try to use this Ori ult just to sort of claim the Poppy, and there it is. Yep. Waves amassing, teams pushing. It is not looking good on the side of UW. It's just too much damage on these turrets, too much damage from these Baron minions. And it looks like this might be it for UW. I'm not sure there's much of a response left.
It's gonna be close.
We see kills trying to come down. We see a lot of ults getting thrown out. This is sort of a last response by both teams to just establish something. UW wants it bad, and they just can't quite get enough trades. Maybe we see Varus sort of come out on top with this health difference. Varus is getting final pickups. Does Ezreal go down? Ezreal does drop. Varus now with the triple kill, looking for the quad kill.
Okay.
Varus stays back. Talia is going for the dragon. I think this is a really good pickup on the side of Cal, but again, that's so much damage, and now we have super minions coming in from all lanes. I mean, jeez. This is going to be a lot for Varus to try and clean up, but I mean, good on UW to sort of respond quickly in a crazy scenario. We're going to see a lot of defense now being played on the side of UW to sort of protect their wide open nexus. This is not the position you want to be in, especially after giving up both major objectives. We see Cal claiming Ocean Soul. This is going to be huge for their longevity and staying alive in these fights. But man, I don't think we would have seen UW survive that if Varus wasn't up in the time he was. So that was some pretty clutch moments from, you know, Varus coming back. But man, you know, it's anything could happen. I'm hopeful still, right? If we see a good team fight on the side of UW where maybe they're able to keep the Varus up, keep him healthy in these fights, get good peel, and he can shut down some of those, you know, big monsters on the side of Cal, I think UW has a chance where maybe they could turn the tides, but it's going to really come down to smart play. We are in smart League of Legends now, so we can't have any hasty decisions, can't have any, you know, too risky plays being made, but we'll see, man. That Ezreal is just going to keep hammering that mid lane, hammering all the solo lanes with his ult because he gets it up just so quick, you know, and so this is big wave of massing. What is that, 4 super minions in the mid lane, 3 super minions in the mid lane? We see it coming out in the top lane now, too. I mean, this is just an army coming down, and maybe Cal just decides to ARAM right here, you know? Do they just finish it off, right? You have the wave, you have the buffs. Who cares, you know? Finish it off.
I mean, you thought having all your turrets gone was bad. Well, all your things are also gone, too. So now you're just completely open.
Yep, no objectives to go for. No real way to, you know, set yourself up for a good play. We see the Maokai hanging back, maybe trying to get a flank here. I think they're just gonna have to be really careful if they do, because if he has any reason to get stopped, you know, it's not gonna look good.
Yeah.
Maokai looking to go in. We see, GA on the Yone. Big ult by the Jarvan, trying to get some value there. We see the Zhonya coming up. Yep, this is exactly what we were expecting. Big pickup from the Ori. We do see 2 fall into the Ezreal. Ezreal is head collecting now, and it's not looking great. He just hit the Varus, GA down. Yone pushing in, and we see minions just hammering this Nexus. I don't think
man, that is...
And that's GG's.
GG's.
Man.
Wow.
Really, really good change of pace, I think, on the side of UW early, but it just wasn't quite enough. Cal proved once again that they were able to really rally to the situation, and even though they were behind, they still came out with a dub. So
yeah,
that was great on both sides. You know, you talk about success of the game, learning from game 1, applying it into game 2, and I think that was good on both sides. They really, you we saw some great play, great Ori plays, great Varus plays, but again, on the side of Cal, they just able to really pick it up a little bit more, and I think it ultimately ended in some tough situations.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really great game too. You can't fault either team there. That was really great gameplay, and I think it was well played, honestly. Gotta give them props.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, man, you hate to see it, but it is one of those things where, just got to be mindful of those objectives. I think overall, UW played the early objectives much better than they did game one. I think they really had a plan, especially focused around that top side. I think there was a lot more top value coming in that really applied itself this game. And it's hard to say what was the big problem on the side of UW because I think it just came down to the team fights, right? We saw that Baron fight where it really was the first time we saw Ezreal kind of claim some big shutdowns and claim some big plays, and that sort of just continued on in the snowball effect, right? But overall, I don't think UW should be sad or disappointed in how they played that game. I think they really learned well from game one and applied their strategies well, and so just sometimes the game just doesn't quite help you out when you need it to, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think kind of like we mentioned at one of the fights where a lot of utility was just used on one person, it kind of makes it hard to go for the whole fight. But I think, like you said, really well played and nothing to be ashamed of there. So yeah, that was good.
100%.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us. Congrats to UC Berkeley, and thank you so much again for joining us on the UW Twitch channel tonight and spending time with our production crew, players, and talent. Remember to check us out of UW Esports on most platforms, X and YouTube, and join our Discord if you're interested in volunteering behind the scenes. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.